Hello, everyone. My name is Marion with DTM Real Talk Channel. It's the channel that you can tune into, have the ability to listen to the thoughts of others about topics all over the world that touch every one of our lives. Everybody goes through basically the same thing. There is nothing new under the sun. So if you're going through, someone else has already been there. Maybe you can find hope. Maybe it's a pathway that can set you on the right road just by tuning in. So DTM Real Talk, just keeping it real. And if you like it, like us at the bottom, subscribe, and let us know just how we helped you. Just keeping it real. Nothing but love. Welcome to DTM Real Talk, and we are tuning in today with my sister and my brother. Yes,
Hello.
I can't say that. Say hi to the folks, y'all.
Hello.
Hello.
How's everybody doing?
This is Jackie and Charles, and they have been married how long?
25 years.
Seemed like
25
yesterday.
years. And guys, here's the deal. Y'all know why we on. We're going to run for 60 days, actually 90 days. We're running 90 days. So we want to hear their story. We're just going to hear their story of how they met and some of the challenges they possibly had gone through. And y'all know that the man always has a different story from the woman the way they met. So we're going to hear that.
Absolutely.
You agree with that?
I don't know what you're talking about.
His recollection, mine is two totally different ones.
She had on one shoe. One shoe on, one shoe off.
Well, it's so good to see you guys. I spent time with y'all, what, a month ago? Was that a month?
No,
Oh,
it was
no, they-
about 3 weeks ago.
Weeks ago, they know how to roll some crawfish. I ain't gonna lie to you. They're not from New Orleans now. They're not from New Orleans, but I got to give it to the dude, man. He was rocking.
He do the very best he can.
Crawfish y'all had out there? About how many crawfish y'all had? About how many crawfish y'all had out there?
We had 120 pounds.
I thought it was an awful lot. I said,
Yeah.
Lord, yeah, shut up. We rocked them too. We rocked them.
Yeah.
We had a class going
Yep,
on.
that was lightweight.
We had a class going on. We were showing people how to eat crawfish from
Yes,
knowledge.
the live DJ, everything. Yes.
Why you plug it in?
It is.
Awesome. Charles, I
Plug
couldn't
it
hear
in
you. I can hardly hear you, Charles. What did you say?
Let me plug this internet cable in. It's acting up.
Yeah, it keeps our internet, you keep freezing.
Okay.
So he's gonna put the Ethernet cable directly to the he's
To the
gonna
laptop.
hotwire it.
Okay.
Can you do it, Daddy?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Nothing to it but to do. Hook that baby up.
Okay.
Now you shouldn't have no
Now we
interruption.
shouldn't have no interruptions.
Awesome. We was gonna tunnel through even if we did.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Frozen and all. We finna
Mhm.
start singing Let It Go.
So where are you guys originally from, Jackie?
I'm from Dallas, Texas, born and raised, and
I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, born and raised.
Oh, you're from St. Louis. How did
Yeah.
how did I not know that? So how'd you get to Dallas?
by way of me.
Yep,
So-
that's the truth.
That's the truth with an
That's
L.
the truth. Mhm. You
So
follow
how-
good love when you know it.
So how did you meet her? How did you meet her?
She alive, but she had one shoe on, one shoe off. She sit at the bus stop waiting for the bus.
Are you serious, Charles?
They told no, I'm not serious, but I'm serious.
Okay, now let me give you the real version.
Oh Lord, here we go.
Okay, so we both worked at a company, and I was supposed to be in a
Regional manager.
regional managers meeting, but something happened and I was not able to make it, so I had to go to the AUM meeting,
Which is area unit manager.
which is assistant unit manager, and that's where he was.
Okay.
So I went with a group of people, and he went with a group of people, and we were actually in St. Louis, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I went from Indianapolis at the time, and I went to St. Louis for the meeting. And the group that I was with, this one particular guy kept saying, that guy keep watching you. And every time I would look down at him, he'd be straight ahead.
Prettiest thing in the room. I mean, the prettiest thing in the room. Still to this day, prettiest thing in the room.
Well, he kept doing that. And we played that game for about, what, 30 minutes, 45 minutes?
Whatever they were doing. If you would have asked me, what was that guy spent, they were spending all that money for to talk to us about. If you would have asked me, what was he talking about? I flunked that test because I'll tell you, it was jacket. That's all I can see. Jacket.
Charles, in my days, they would have called that you were strung out on the first string.
Girl, you know what? I hadn't even walked by him or anything. We were sitting in a crowded room with about, what, 200 people?
She stood out in the room. I'm telling you, she stood out in the room.
And he was just looking at it. Then I finally caught him.
Boy,
So you
I
busted.
turned real fast, and he was busted.
I was caught. And look, I ain't had no game. I didn't have no word, no rap, ain't no not all that. No.
But what did you
I
say?
It looks good. Ooh, Lord, have mercy. Prettiest thing in the room.
What did you say, Charles? What did you say to her?
No, I think we were wasn't in like a auditorium, so to speak, in a buffet room, so to speak. The guy was on the stage. He was talking. I think his name was Sid Delaney. I think that's his name. I don't know. And he was talking, doing motivational speaking or something. I was in the front row too. My shift was always to the left. So I wasn't too concerned about what was walking across. I was shift to the left. I'm like, Lord, that's the prettiest thing I ever seen in my entire life.
Girl, he was stalking me. He was stalking me.
I don't know if you call it stalking or peep eye, but I was poking that eye on her peep eye. I sure was. Yeah, that's how we met. We met at the
So after you guys got over this initial stalk race here,
yes.
So, and you finally got together here, dating. I'm going to say dating. So how long did you date?
We didn't date.
You didn't. So when you met, how long was it before you got married?
About 6 weeks.
6 weeks. No kidding.
Wow. He moved from when I went back home to Indianapolis after the meeting. He called me. Well, no, I take that back. He gave me numbers.
Yeah.
And this is just how God ordained this. He gave me numbers. He gave me 3. None of the numbers worked.
Okay, just say the numbers were wrong. Then we can move on, okay?
None of the numbers worked. So I called him about 4 or 5 days after I got back, and none of the numbers worked. They were to Greyhound bus stations and all kinds of stuff. So I was like, dude, playing me. So I wrote him off.
She sure did. I
wrote him off.
And so wait. Was that a setup, Charles? Did you know you were giving her the wrong number?
No, I'm not used to giving my number out. So when she asked me for the number, the only reason I gave her 3 numbers in case if I did give the number wrong, at least she got to get one of the numbers right. And then it would be difficult to keep in contact with me because then we didn't have cell phones. We had pagers, but we didn't have cell phones.
Right.
So if you call me at my mom's house and if I don't get the message, I'm not going to know that the message is there. I'm hardly ever at home because I'm always working. I work 3 jobs. So I wasn't at home. So between calling where I worked, which was a restaurant at the time, across the street was the Greyhound bus station, which they communicate with me and they knew me by name. And calling my mom's house, I'll get the message. Well, she said I gave all the wrong numbers. So, that wasn't on purpose, honestly. But she didn't call me for a while. So then I ended up calling her. Oh my God, that woman shot me down on that phone call.
What she say to you?
She said, who is this? I said, who is this? I said, baby Daddy, that's my best Mac Daddy vibe. You just shot me down. She said, well, that was your best. Then we can just end this right now. I'm like, whoa, God, you cold and ice. She did. She wrote me off.
Yeah, I did. I wrote him off, and I told him.
But I didn't stop. I wasn't pushy. I was very
persistent.
But I was a gentleman. Is what I'm trying to say. I wasn't putting myself in the position to be annoying. Put it that way.
Okay.
Because if it ever got to the point to where I was annoying, and she said, "Don't call me anymore," I would have obeyed her wishes. I wouldn't have called.
Okay. Wow, this is a pretty cool meet. Wait a minute now.
What I did would do is I surprised her. And I had promised her that I was gonna drive down to Indianapolis. Well, I did make the drive down to Indianapolis. So when I got there, I called her. I was on 25th and LaSalle. And I told her, I said, you're not gonna be angry at me if I don't show up with you. She said, no. I said, good, because I'm right here at 25th and LaSalle, and I don't know how to get to your house. She paused, she said, you're at 25th and LaSalle? She says, the church is right there. I said, yes. She said, you here? I said, yes, I am. Well, I'm coming to pick you up. I'm like, okay, come and pick me up. When the woman got out of the car, she had on these house shoes that looked like rabbits.
Mhm.
She had this thing on her head. It was tied up,
Yep.
and she was cleaning. And she pulled up, and then at that time, Carissa was with Gwen. So he had a baby in the pumpkin seat, which was a grandbaby, had a daughter, met me up there at the churches, and that's how we met. When I came down to visit.
Okay. So she had children already when you met.
Yes. Yeah.
And obviously you were married and divorced, Jackie, right?
Yeah.
And what about you, Charles?
He was married and divorced too.
Yeah.
He was married and divorced too. So you guys were the second time around. That's what I'm trying to get out.
Second time around. Yes.
Yeah, it was the second time
Yeah.
around.
So you got married and life began to roll in the marriage. So what would you say was the biggest obstacle for you, Jackie, personally? What was the biggest obstacle before, once y'all got married within the first year or so? What would you say was the biggest obstacle for you?
Communication.
What would you say, Charles, was the biggest obstacle for you?
The biggest obstacle for me was trust.
Trust. Okay, let's take that one at a time. So Jackie, why would you say communication? Share with the folks about that.
Well, for one, I'm someone who like to talk it out or talk it through. If I see a problem, I like to address it and get it all over with. No need to let it linger. So he was not like that.
Okay.
He didn't know how to communicate. And sometimes he still struggled with communication, but I have learned how to, I guess, counteract what he's thinking because we're so in sync. So
that's now. So where were you then when you discovered that, okay, this guy does not communicate and I ain't feeling it? So can you name one instance that you can think of that made you see this is going to be an issue because he doesn't communicate?
Do I have to pick just one? Okay. Okay. So I think it was centered around the children.
Okay.
I had a different way of communicating with my children. Me, you're a kid, you don't get a choice. And he was like, okay, I'm gonna give them a choice. I was like, no, they're not going to manipulate me. So I'm gonna stop this right here. I'm more firm when it comes down to that. He's not. He's more of so that's what it was centered. He's more of a we're gonna deal with this later type of thing. And his children were not familiar with my style of parenting. So my communication and his communication was totally different. And that rose early in the marriage. And it almost was to the point where I was ready to leave. His children kind of sort of ran the show for a little bit. Let's park
that right there. So you're into the marriage a year or so and you realize this guy does not talk and I'm not feeling that. I'm talking. I need to communicate what's going on. So that was one of the things that irked you about him at that time. So now, Charles, during the year of this marriage, just the first year or so, what was the challenge, the biggest challenge with her from you? What is one of those things that kind of bothered you?
I'm one to where I believe a person is they are true to themselves when they're angry. So I like to see you angry to the point to where, okay, you're angry now, you're gonna walk out the door, you're gonna excommunicate me, or you're gonna write me off, or you're gonna deal with this thing and get it working to a well-oiled machine. Are you gonna do it that way, or are you gonna walk? We know I'm used to those ones that tell you one thing and do something totally different.
Mhm.
She wasn't like that, totally opposite. She
Okay,
said she gonna do it.
that's the good thing about her. What was the
Yep.
challenge? What was the challenge that you had with her?
I wouldn't say that there was a challenge, but when you have a blended family, that's a challenge within itself.
Okay.
And I never looked at the children as being separate. I've
Okay.
always taken them to the point to where you're mine. I'm going to treat you like mine. I'm not going to throw you to the side. I'm not going to treat you like you're an infidel. I'm going to treat you just like I birthed you. And that's the attitude that I have. So I'm not going to say that there was a negative side. I'm quite sure there was, but there wasn't any negative side at the beginning for me. That was mine, other children. And I love other children. I love the father of the children.
Okay, I think I got your answer, but you didn't get my question. Okay, so I'm gonna use the word beef. Her beef with you in the very first year was lack of communication. All right. So obviously nobody is 100. So what was your beef with her in the first year of your marriage? Can you think of something that she needed to change?
Trust that she's gonna take care of my children like I expect her to, not mistreat them.
Okay.
That's what my beef was. So I had to figure that out. I had to put her to the test.
Okay. So you weren't feeling that at first, and you had to test that in that.
Right, exactly.
Right. Okay. Got it.
I had to know that she's not just there for me, she's there for me and the children as well.
Got it. So it was a trust issue. Got it. Okay. Okay. Very good. Y'all see that? Y'all feeling that? Okay. So now you're married into the year, 2 years. You guys been married 20 something years.
25.
25 years.
25 short years.
So, okay. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about, you guys said you were a blended family. So how did being a blended family, both of you can answer it one at a time, how did being a blended family affect you, seeing that you had both been married before? What were you thinking in your minds when you got married after it got going? Like, whoa, I'm really in this. This is my new family. I have to accept everybody. What were you thinking? What were you feeling, Jackie?
In the beginning, well, things kind of progressed rather quickly. And I didn't back down when it came down to children being respectful and knowing their place. So his children ran him, in other words, and I let him know that those children was running him. They lied on me. They tried to separate us. You know, it was just an ongoing battle, fighting with trying to find a space. And I honestly felt like that it was a manipulation from another parent. So not only was I dealing with a set of children who, after a certain amount of time, want to see their mother and daddy back together, I was dealing with a manipulative, significant ex-other.
Right.
So to
basically,
sum it all up.
Let me see if I can understand what you're saying. So basically, without really going into everything, you felt that in the beginning to come together, you felt you were being disrespected in some way. Am I correct?
More or less disrespected and challenged.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So it was a lot of manipulation.
Not a lot of manipulation on the kids' part because of their father being with someone new, and a lot of manipulation on the ex part because she still was wanting the husband.
Not minding her business.
Not minding her business. Not minding her business. Okay. So Charles, the same question to you. After the marriage got rolling, years and years in, now I am in a blended family. I still have to take care of my kids. I still have to love my new children, and I got to love my wife. So what were you feeling? What were some of your feelings inside that you felt about you? What were some of your feelings? Was there any fear? Was there any hesitancy or doubt?
Oh, it was a bunch of fear. There was a lot of fear there, but it wasn't the type of fear to where I would reject the children. That wasn't going to happen.
Okay.
It was fear to the point to where I don't know I don't know what they encountered in their lives. So I don't know what they have hidden in the background. I'm a feeler. So you can say one thing to me, but your body language, your actions, your eyes, your hand movement, that's going to tell me a whole lot. I've learned that. So I'm used to people looking me in my face and they'll lie to me. I'm used to that. But when you tell me the truth, there's actions behind that. So it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny. And I can't say I got through this on my own. I got through this through my blind spiritual eyes. I just put it that way. Because it's to the point to where I didn't know the ramifications of having a blended family. I've never been involved in my upcoming in a blended family. All of my siblings are from the same mother and father. So I'm used to it. I hear other people that have that. Right. So that's been a challenge for me to step out into that. So I knew that no matter what, I'm marriage material. If it's not this person, it's going to be a person. I'm marriage material, period, with everything that goes with it. Okay. With everything that goes with it. So my mind was already set. So I learned as I go, but that was my biggest one is, okay, what did you have to endure in your upbringing that you got to this point? Right. And there's no man in you. So that's what I was. That's what you're feeling. That was my biggest. I got you. That was my of not knowing what to expect because of not knowing what the children. Bingo. Yeah, not knowing how you're gonna take me, not knowing how I'm going to give you this information. Yes, exactly. Yes.
Very Marion. Yes. My children were very, very accepting of Charles to the point to where it was like it was like that's dad. Yep. That's dad.
To this day, the same way.
Yeah, it didn't do anything but intensify over the years. So he's dad. That's it. There's put a stamp on it. He's dad.
Wow. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah. Well, I have one last question for you before we just leave these folks hanging for next week because they need to know the rest of the story. Okay, here's my last question. The last two couples that I talked to, they had been married for over 20 years. And both of them said at one point in their marriage, they just wanted to call it quits. What point was that for you, Jackie?
There hasn't been a point to where I just wanted to call it quits.
Okay.
There's a difference in calling it quits, finality, and taking a break.
Okay, now, talk about the break.
Okay, there was a time that I was overwhelmed with not being able to communicate effectively to him.
Okay.
And I was tired. Mentally, spiritually, physically, I was tired. And I just wanted to take a break from constantly having the push-pull battle. So it was like 7 years into our marriage and I wanted a break. But I wanted one, but I knew it wasn't an option.
Gotcha. Okay, Charles. So at what point did you need a break where it had gotten so overwhelming?
I knew for a fact I'm not going to say I quit. That right. I knew I was already in my mind.
It's already happened to me.
It was leaving was not an option. It just wasn't. No matter how bad it gets, you're gonna have to kill me. That's the only thing. That's the only thing that's gonna stop it. I'm just because it's easy to walk away. It's easy to throw your hands up and say, you know what, I'll go start all over again. That wasn't even an option for me. I started with this.
Okay, so at what point? Were you?
I was at a point to where I was so angry at her that she just she just kept coming at me. Just and that little squeaky voice, it was just, Charles, and she was just coming at me. So I called her name, and then that name, and I'm in a way that I'm glad that it did happen because it opened my eyes up. She hopped in that car, she drove off, and I'm like, Antoinette came and said, Daddy, that's messed up. You gonna let her leave like that? I'm like, my mom like saying, what was I supposed to do? Hold her by a drawstring and keep her there? I'm not one that's going to make you not take off, I'm one that's I want you to do exactly what it is that you have in your heart to do, because I want the true you. I don't want, that's when I was telling you.
That's why you had to see her at her anger. I got you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, folks, let me tell you something. These guys were in it to win it.
Yeah.
Am I right? They were in it to
You're
win
right.
it. Rain, slow, sleet, or shine. They was in it to win it. And we're going to find out how they dealt with that breaking point where both of them was just ready to break.
Lord,
We'll find out next week. And this is DTM Real Talk. And we're just doing what? Keeping it real. See you next week. Enjoy your evening. Thanks for watching DTM Real Talk. Be sure to join us for more conversation. And oh yeah, don't forget to hit that like button, share, and subscribe while you're there.